Hey everybody, and welcome to another recap of the month that was over here on That's Comical. Of course, I am Steve, your friendly neighborhood lawn gnome, and of course, getting together with Dan is always a treat for me just to see how the month has been in comics. So Dan, you ready to rock and roll for another episode?
Let's get it done.
All right, so we are now officially closing out July. As a matter of fact, it is August already, and we've officially hit the midpoint of the year, so there's definitely some recapping of 2021 that we really want to talk about. So, of course, we're looking forward to this discussion. We're hoping every single one of you are excited for this discussion, so please don't forget to leave us a comment and a like. We'd love to chat with you, and of course, to see what's going on with the rest of the team over here on That's Comical, because there's some really good stuff in store, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're up to date with all of our latest content. So, Daniel, I got to ask you a question. As of now, going into month number 8 of 2021, what's your overall feeling right now about comic books in general?
I think it's been a really good and interesting year, especially for indie titles. Also, the fact that COVID was winding down and movie theaters are opening. You get in the Black Widow movie, I think it's definitely going to push sales of comic books, get people back into stores, that kind of thing. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, I will let you know that I did see Black Widow. I actually reviewed Black Widow on the channel. I was very impressed with it. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And I'm already ready to get back into the theaters again to see the Suicide Squad. People are saying that James Gunn did a phenomenal job. And I'm also looking forward to all the other comic book movies that are coming out for the rest of the year. I mean, everybody's right now on high anticipation for the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. I'm excited to get that, see that soon. But yeah, I think it's been interesting. I was extremely impressed with comic books, very similarly to you, mostly on the independent side. I was not off to a really good start when it came to the big two, even though that seemed to be where most of my money was going because, you know, we started off the year with DC Future State and we were in the middle of the King in Black. But I got to admit right now, even Marvel and DC are impressing me with some of the comics that they are releasing right now. But right now for me, it really is where the indies are. That's where all of my favorite reads are, my favorite writers, my favorite artists. That's really where all my excitement goes. And it's very important to really know where all the stuff is because unfortunately there's so many indie labels out there and nobody really knows where some of those stories are. I mean, I know you haven't read them yet because just in case everybody doesn't know, some of the comics that Dan is interested in reading on the indie side cannot be obtained by his comic store. So he actually has me as a gate to my comic store, and it is a fantastic store. I love the fact that I've got a great local store, but he's been collecting Mad Cave Studios' Nottingham series. That was a very popular book amongst many who really are in the know. Not that many people who are more so mainstream even knew that it existed, but a lot of people really like this noir retelling of Robin Hood. So that's really interesting.
Definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy it, my friend. I'd really like to know. And they basically say, you know, if it keeps selling as far as the rest of the printings come out, then they may decide to continue the story. Because as much as I do like the fact that, especially with the indies, it's mostly miniseries and maxi series, there's still opportunity for continuations of these stories. But let me just shoot it on back to you. What were your favorite titles, whether they were miniseries, maxi series, or even ongoing stories with brand new story arcs? What were your 3 favorite reads of 2021 so far?
Well, I'm going to start. Actually, I follow different criteria. So I know this came out technically in 2020, but We Live number 5.
We Live is an excellent story.
So I know it came out in 2020, but technically number 5 actually came out in 2021. Your first appearance of the Palladians, which is a big deal going forward in the series. It ended off on a cliffhanger, really good as well. And all around from issue 1 through 5, it was a great series. I know they're coming out with an issue a new comic book day in a couple weeks.
That's correct.
And according to your sources, they're going to continue beyond issue 5, correct?
Yeah, you actually pronounced the name that I couldn't figure out. I'm still trying to find out when We Live era of the Palladians. What do you call them? I can't figure it.
Palladians?
Or Palladians. I don't know how to properly pronounce them, but that it was supposed to actually start right around now, but it's still to be determined. But believe me, I'm keeping my eyes and my ears open because I think that We Live was definitely one of the best reads of 2020. When they officially announced the sequel series, I definitely want to reread it. And I don't know if you tried it yet, but I really want to try and read the comic while listening to the soundtrack. I want to try that technology. It sounds really interesting. But yeah, I'm with you with We Live. We Live is something that I actually recommended to you. So I'm glad that you were able to get your hands on them.
That reminds me, like The Wizard of Oz came out with some soundtrack. They said you can listen to it with the movie, or was it Dark Side of the Moon?
Yeah, it was Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon.
That's
I think
what it
I
is.
actually tried that in college with some friends.
Did it work?
You had to be either extremely stoned or extremely drunk or extremely high on sugar, but we think it worked. We tried it.
This is a story arc that started December 2020, but Daredevil issue 25, December 2020. However, the story arc continues in 2021. Chip Zdarsky book, can't go wrong with it. Great story. Elektra becomes Daredevil. Daredevil is fighting for his life in jail. Chip Zdarsky, enough said.
No, I'm with you. Chip Zdarsky is basically, once I know that he's attached to a book, I'm just going to go out and get it. I don't care what he's writing about. All I know is that it's going to be good. And we're not the only ones who feel that way about him. I watch so many people right now out there in the comic book community on YouTube, and whether it's the Justice League, The Last Ride, or The Silver Coin, or Daredevil, or Stillwater. And strangely enough, not that many people are really talking about Spider-Man, Spider Shadow, but I've really been enjoying it. I'm excited for the conclusion. I hope it's good. I'm sure it's going to be good. But I'm always excited for a new title that he's a part of. And the minute I find out he's on it, I don't care. I'm just going to go right on and get it because I don't want to miss a good story.
And the crossover 7, which he was a guest writer.
Right, yes. Oh, I can't. I actually called that one of my favorite issues that was released in June. How could I? That was a fantastic issue. I had so much fun reading it.
So my last pick is not exactly a read. I'm doing it as my favorite cover so far.
Okay.
2021. It's by your favorite artist.
Alex Ross?
Correct. Do you know what issue it is?
I
You
would
probably
like to know.
have an idea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those special ones that he does for all those. That's a great. I love how it's mixing in with the background. You got a perfect. It looks like a cardboard cutout of Vision that I'm looking at right now. I actually think it works perfectly.
Marvel Cosmic for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I
love
think
it.
with because the show was a hit and he originally did the Vision as part of the original poster, so they brought the variant in the comic,
Right.
which was really cool. And I mean, the color scheme just looks, it's just awesome. That's it.
Yeah, the timeless covers are great. They're absolutely wonderful. So my 3 fall from Image Comics. They're all Image Comics, but I definitely want to give a couple of props as soon as I go through them. The first series that I read that I absolutely love, number 3, I'm going to go from 3 to 1. Number 3 is Tony Fleek's Stray Dogs. I know that you've also picked up a couple of variants. I'm really excited to hear what you think about this. This story just blew me the hell away. I just loved the fact that it was a different kind of story. It was horror themed. I'm showing you all the 5th issue, and this is the B movie poster cover. So this is, of course, a parody of Friday the 13th, which is fantastic. And the thing I love the most about this is there's not that many dialogue bubbles. It's very visual. And the art is something out of a Disney movie. That's what I love so much about it. And I'm really excited that there's going to be a free comic book day issue attached to Stray Dogs, and there's going to be a one-shot follow-up called Stray Dogs Dog Days, and I'm really curious to see where that story is going to go. All I know is that it's the same writer, it's the same artist, so that I think is going to be good. Number 2 is something that I'm pretty sure that you would not be surprised by, but it was a W. Maxwell Princess Ha series. The interesting thing about this was I really thought that this was going to be my number 1 pick of the year so far, just because of how I thought that issues 1 and 3 were. Those are definitely the 2 best ones, but some of them were hit or miss. I really thought that issue number 4 wasn't anything special. This one was good. This is number 6, by the way. Not great. I liked how it tied into Ice Cream Man, though. This is a character from Ice Cream Man. And as a series, it's fantastic. It's something completely out there, something completely original. And I just feel that if you don't really care much for the classic superhero formula, just go for something like this. And if you're afraid of clowns, then I'm really sorry. You may just have to give this one a pass. I have been reading a lot of W. Maxwell Prince's other stuff, and he doesn't really have that many titles to his name yet. And I'm not reading Ice Cream Man because I'm a little too far behind, and I know that some of those earlier issues are very tough to get. But I did manage to get some of his miniseries, like The Electric Sublime and The King of Nowhere, and they're all beautiful reads. And I'm just really excited to get in early for another one of his new titles whenever it may show up. But my number 1, I don't know if you could figure it out, but I will say that I did not expect it to be as my number 1 pick, but it's Kyle Higgins' Radiant Black. I got in on the ball with this right when issue number 1 came out, and the funny thing was, I thought that issue number 1 was good, and then I thought that issue number 2 was okay, and issue number 3, I was like, I don't know if I want to continue this, but then something happens. In issue number 4, we actually find out that the main character, Nathan, was not supposed to be what the story was about. He gets killed in issue number 4, and his friend Marshall, who was really into this whole mysterious entity that helps you become a superhero, now he's Radiant Black. And now the story has just opened up on a whole other level. This is issue number 6. This is where we were introduced to the origin story of Radiant Red, and it was really, really cool. But now we know that there is a Radiant Black, and there's a Radiant Red, and there's 2 more Radiants. And now Marshall has to figure out what the heck these other 2 Radiants are fighting, because they've apparently been fighting a battle with some evil entity for a while now, and now he's officially being brought to the fight. So it's been a very interesting ride. It's been very good writing, and because this story took a twist, I get more excited with every single issue.
Very interesting. Marshall was in the first issue, though.
He's been there since issue 1. You're absolutely right, but I did not even see it coming, and it was so funny because I was getting so bored with Nathan. I was like, this character really isn't going anywhere. And I think I actually once sent you a text message while I was reading these issues. I said to you, I might seriously consider stop reading this after the first story arc, but after issue number 4, everything just goes completely haywire, and now every single issue is just incredible. I'm loving it. So I'm really hoping that this continues to be good, because there were also some stories that did fall a little short for me. I have to be honest with you, my friend. I have been extremely disappointed with Jeff Johns' Geiger from Image Comics. I was not happy with this read at this point in time. I was expecting it to be much grander as a massive Jeff Johns fan, but I'm going to read it till issue number 6. And unless something happens that really gets me wanting to continue to read it, I don't think I'm going to continue. I mean, he's been teasing that there's some new titles that are part of this universe. I don't know if Peter Tomasi's Snipe and Slug are going to be part of this universe, but I don't know. I mean, you still, how far have you haven't gotten past issue number 2 because you don't have your copies of issue 3 and 4 yet.
I didn't even read issues 1 and 2, so I can't comment.
And also, I did read that Image Comics 2 Moons, and I stopped reading after issue number 5. Didn't think that it was a great story, even though the premise sounded really, really interesting. But now they've officially announced that issue number 6 is coming, and I've already read the synopsis, and I'm like, no, I don't think I'm going to continue on. It's a pity when you have to say goodbye, but my mission is get through at least one story arc and just like don't stop, because like if someone else like happens to stumble upon your comic book collections, like if it's a friend or if it's a child and they want to read the story and you don't have at least one story arc, I just feel like the person who's going to read it is going to say, well, what happened to the rest of the story, if they actually end up enjoying it.
So on that note, what series are you still reading through past the first story arc?
Well, I'm definitely going to be continuing to read Radiant Black, that's for sure. I'm still reading the second story arc of We Only Find Them When They're Dead from Boom Studios. I'm reading a lot of miniseries from two specific companies, and that's why I think I wanted to give them honorable mentions. I think the two really great comic companies outside of Image, because it seems to me that when it comes to the indies, Image is where most of my money is going right now. But Aftershock Comics and AWA Upshot, I think, is really where the good stories are right now. Because this year alone, I read Shadow Doctor, which was incredible. I just finished it. Great ending. Nuclear Family by Stephanie Phillips, beautiful. Silver City by Olivia Briggs, pretty good. Steve Orlando's Project Patron, very good. I mean, there's just been some really great stuff that they've been giving me this year alone. And AW Upshot, you've got Erratic, which was my first title from them. I started reading Moths by J. Michael Straczynski, which I've been really enjoying so far, and the artwork is gorgeous. I, on a whim, picked up John Cho's Fight Girls. I liked the issue #1, and I'm going to read Telepaths #1 when it comes out in September. So I'm excited about that, but I'm also trying to follow some of the names that are along with these. Like, I'm really now trying to track down Jeff Lemire's work, because I read Jeff Lemire's issue that he wrote for the Silver Coin, and I really liked it. And he's got some good stuff coming out from various indie companies in the next couple of months. But along with what we have read so far, we also have been in the middle of con season. You know, San Diego Comic-Con, I didn't even know it was still happening. And it was a home thing, but at the same time, there have been a couple of cons that actually have been happening in person. I know that there's one that's actually happening in New York very soon. There's one that's happening up in Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. I know that there's a couple of them all around the United States. And I mean, I hope that things don't change because of what's been going on with the you-know-what right now. It's a little bit nerve-wracking to most people, but how do you feel about the fact that, you know, it's the little cons that's one of the things that I'm noticing is the smaller cons seem to really embody what Comic Cons are really all about. It's about the comic books. San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, it's all panels of all different kinds of things. Is this just because of things are changing in regards to how people absorb these kinds of things?
Yeah, it's like classic against future. I guess, you know, those big Comic Cons, they're geared more towards panels and actors and TV shows and stuff like that. So they get the big name stars. The smaller cons, they get, you know, I guess B-level talent or C-level. And then they focus a lot on, you know, pops and pop culture and comics.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't. I think I would disagree with you just a little bit, because I was taking a look at some of these smaller cons and I was seeing who was actually coming to the cons, and there were some names that I actually knew that I was actually excited about. I mean, I don't remember which one it was, but I think that Peter Tomasi was going to be at one of them, and I was like, oh, I would totally go to see this guy because he writes a lot of the comics that I like to read. I mean, it's also at the same time, when you're not really that much of a big author or artist, but you're still coming up in the ranks, you know, like I don't know what people would really classify Chip Zdarsky as right now. I mean, would you put him like in the same realm as, like, let's say Chris Claremont or Chuck Dixon or Tom McFarlane? Like, is he really one of them just yet, or is he still somewhere trying to still create his own identity?
I don't think he's on that level, but he's one of the top writers nowadays.
Yeah.
and I guess time will tell. I think he's still trying. He's at like huge hit series
Yeah,
to get up there to those guys.
I agree. I mean, I feel like, some of the writers that I like are the ones that I just recently mentioned. Like another one of my favorites that I have been reading a lot right now is Kari Andrews. I read his Erratic series on Upshot. It was incredible. And I just read Amazing Fantasy #1, which he's writing and drawing. And I had such a great time with that issue. And I'm really excited for the other four. But also another one of my favorite writers right now is turning out to be Jed MacKay, because there's a lot of people who talked about King in Black, and not that many people have much positive to say. I mean, there is some positive, but there seems to be a little bit more meh than positive. But some of my favorite reads were actually his Black Cat issues that were tied into the King in Black storyline. I liked them. And I'm currently reading his Magic the Gathering issues from Boom Studios, really liking that as well. And I just read Moon Knight #1, and he's writing that too. It was great. I had such a good time with this guy's writing. I think that he's not striving to be like a Frank Miller or a Mark Millar or anything like that. I think he's just trying to give audiences these amazing, entertaining stories, just stories that you can just have a good time reading. Like, you put the book down and you say to yourself, wow, that was awesome. I want to read that again. Or like, I'm excited for the next issue. I would highly recommend, if you were able to pick up Moon Knight #1. I don't even know if you did, but I really enjoyed it.
Actually, I got it from my son today, so
I think
yeah, I
he's going
picked
to
it
love
up.
it. I think he's going to
Yeah,
love the artwork too. The artwork is stunning, especially
I'm gonna
that
read it. I'm
cover.
gonna read it with him. Who's the artist on it?
Well, I forgot the name of the guy who writes the books, but I know the cover art is done by Steve McNiven, and I love that issue #1. That is a gorgeous cover.
Yeah, very nice.
I know that you just showed us earlier, you showed us the Alex Ross Timeless covers. Are you planning to collect those special edition Marvel Masterpieces covers?
This is the first I'm hearing about it. So, actually, you did mention it. I'm not sure. I'd
Yeah,
have to see them.
Yeah, basically, it's the same artist. It's Joe Jusko, who did the original 1992 Marvel Masterpieces line, Series 1. And each of these Marvel comic covers is one of the cards. Like, I think one of the X-Men issues, it's the Cyclops card. One of the Spider-Man issues is the Green Goblin card.
How
So I
many of
think
these issues are they coming out with?
I
That's
don't
my
have a
question.
number. I don't have a number, but I believe that they are October releases. I think it's because they're celebrating the anniversary of the series of Marvel Masterpieces. I mean, I love the fact that they're making them. I'm not going to buy them because I have the cards. Even some of these issues are going to feature some of those special inserts, which I also think is pretty cool. I think one of the covers is going to be Hulk versus Thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah, they were nice. They were nice cards, art-wise.
they were. Yeah, Joe Jusko did a great job on those. So, yeah, I mean, look, I would love to go to a con one of these days. I mean, you and I did go to one out on Long Island when we were younger. We went to Icon over at Stony Brook University when we were in college, and we had a good time. But
Yeah, we probably could have got so many good comics back then for nothing.
Hey! That's where I got my Amazing Spider-Man 298, my friend. That's where I got it, and I paid $30 for that thing.
You made a good deal.
I did. What can I say? I didn't really know what I was looking for, but I feel nowadays, like, if I'm going to go to a con, I got a game plan in mind. Like if we were able to go to one of these cons, like maybe next year, and especially if Andy was able to come with me and you, any grails that you would specifically be looking for? Because I already know what I would be looking for.
I want Venom. I want Spider-Man 300, but that's very expensive.
You see, I'm really surprised that you don't have a copy of that. I mean, the one expensive comic that I would really be trying to hunt for is Vengeance of Bane #1, just because then I would officially complete my Nightfall collection. But I think I would be looking for original issues of the Max, because I would really like to complete my set. I'd like to read the entire series. I have right now issues number 1 through 11. I'd love to see if I can get the rest of them, and some Spawn comics, like from issues number 150 to like 279 or something like that, just because I keep hearing so many great things about some of those stories that are found in those specific issues, like Armageddon. They say that's like the best Spawn story ever written, and I would love to get my hands on that story. And I mean, like, I think you and I would probably also, if we both were like looking through those bins and someone was getting rid of Saga issue number 1, wouldn't that be a find?
Yeah, I think that's highly unlikely at a con, but
Yeah, they're actually coming out in October with a complete box set of the trade paperback volumes of Saga. I'm seriously considering picking that up for myself because I was talking to somebody just a couple of days ago, and he was saying to me, "Oh, you got to read this. You have got to check out Saga. I know it's good to know that you want to read it, Steve, but you got to read it." So I'm going to give it a shot very soon. Very soon.
you let me know how that is. Maybe
Absolutely.
I'll follow suit.
Absolutely. I mean, again, I knew about Saga for a while. I just didn't know that Image made it. That was the funny thing. All the people in the booktube community, mostly women, were talking about how Saga's awesome, Saga's awesome, Saga's awesome. I'm like, okay, cool. What's this Saga? And then like I look at one of the trade paperbacks that says Image Comics presents Saga. I'm like, holy cow, really? I did not know that.
All I know is that issue 1 is very expensive.
I know, like about $2,500 or something like that. It's crazy. But the last thing that I really wanted to discuss with you is, we've still got the rest of the year to go. And what are you looking forward to the most? Any specific titles, any specific companies that are catching your eye? Because I'll just let you be forewarned. I've got a lot of stuff to tell.
First and foremost, Spider-Man Life Story. There's an annual, which is a continuation to the original story, which I'm looking forward to because I really like the original story. Also written by Chip Zdarsky.
Correct.
So can't go wrong with that. He-Man, Masters of the Universe Revelations.
Did you watch it?
No, I'm gonna start tonight.
Oh, okay. I already watched it.
Because I love the show as a kid.
Well, I would love to hear your thoughts because I'll just give you my thoughts right now.
Did Kevin Smith do good or no good?
Could have been better. It wasn't the worst thing I ever saw, but I can understand why the fans are angry. And for me personally, I wasn't angry or disappointed or anything like that. But I'm like basically saying, I don't know how much you know, sir, but all I'm going to say is if you're really going to try and do something completely bold, you've got to, it's the Olympics. I'm going to say, you got to stick that landing. You got to give me something that I can chew on. But look, it's intriguing. I'm going to see it to the end. And I'm just going to sit back and laugh at everything that comes out from everybody else who wants to make a stink. I've already done my own bitching and moaning over The Last Jedi, and ironically, this is apparently being compared to The Last Jedi. I definitely don't see it, but I'm not going to go that route. I have too much. I got, as Lex Luthor said in the post-credit scene of Zack Snyder's Justice League, I've got too little time and too many important things to do.
Well, I'm also looking forward to House of Slaughter. So House of Slaughter is a spinoff from Something is Killing the Children.
Yeah, I'm actually going to pick up issue number 1. And I'm going to pick up that free comic book day, by the way.
Don't miss that, guys. It'll be off the shelves like hotcakes.
We already had this discussion. I did pick up that special reprinting of issue number 1, and I didn't really think it was my cup of tea, but I'm expecting House of Slaughter to be something very different, something very interesting. Like I'm feeling like if it's supposed to be like some kind of an organization that's a group of monster hunters, I'm expecting something that's very much like the Men in Black, like something very noir. I'm expecting something that's going to be very exciting, a lot of fun, a lot of action. So I'm thinking, even though I haven't read Something is Killing the Children, I'm still going to enjoy House of Slaughter. I just have a feeling.
Well, they do make appearances in the story itself, not issue 1, but later on, and it is very interesting how they operate.
Well, look, we haven't even spoken about him, but James Tynion is also another one of the hottest writers out there right now in comics. I mean, look, it's cool to know that he's writing Batman still when people thought he was going to stop after Batman 100 with Joker War. But along with Batman, he's writing all of these great indie comics. I mean, you're loving Something is Killing the Children. I'm still reading The Department of Truth. I'm going to finish the second story arc. Not sure how I'm going to feel at the end of it, but I'm gonna decide whether I'm going to continue or not. But as of now, what I've read has definitely been interesting.
So what are you looking forward to?
A lot of interesting stuff, my friend. I said it earlier, I'm going to say it again. I think the best stuff is going to be coming out of Aftershock Comics and AWA Upshot. I wish I could say the same for Boom Studios, but I've been noticing that I am much more selective when it comes to picking up Boom Studios books than I am with some of the other big indie companies like Image and stuff, because there's so many other indie companies out there, and like Scout Comics hasn't really been grabbing me outside of maybe one or two titles, and they are terrible when it comes to distribution. They're absolutely horrendous. And like I see all these other comic book companies like Behemoth Comics and Mad Cave Studios, and I always like to do my research, but nothing's truly grabbing me. It's AWA Upshot that I'm really enjoying because of the fact that they are creating this superhero universe, and you don't have to read everything to truly understand everything. All you need to know is that something happened. It caused some of these people to get superpowers, and through that, you just go however you want to go. That's where Erratic goes. That's where Moths goes. I mean, the main title is Resistance. I haven't read it. I am going to pick up the Free Comic Book Day issue #1 of the Resistance Uprising. Fight Girls is not within this confines of this universe at all, but it's still a great read. And I'm expecting this new title, Telepaths, to be a part of this universe. And I read what it's going to be about, and it reminds me of the NBC show Heroes. Remember that?
Yeah, I love that show.
Yeah, just the whole concept of people around the world having this connection, and they all get drawn together. And I'm like, wow, that feels like Heroes. And I love the first season of Heroes. So I'm going to be very interested in that. And Aftershock, I think, is really where it's going to be, because if we get the follow-up to We Live, which I know is going to be great, the Miranda brothers are going to do a great job. But with a lot of my miniseries now officially ending, there's some new miniseries that are coming out that I'm excited about. And the interesting thing is they're all spy related. That's what makes me really excited. Like spy and gang related. I'm going to pick up The Search for Who, which sounds really interesting. I'm going to pick up Almost American, which sounds really good. And I'm also still in the middle of some news stories that just sprung up from Aftershock that I'm really enjoying right now. So again, I just think that this is where all the great writing is. And also Cross to Bear, which I'm really looking forward to reading. I think that that's going to be an excellent story. It's about like Jack the Ripper escapes from London, and he's now in the Old West, and this organization is going overseas to hunt him down. Like, that's such a cool idea.
Yeah, I like that idea.
So, and Beyond the Breach is also just, I read issue #1. It was just great. I'm excited to see where that goes with issue #2. And again, I'd like to see more from Boom Studios. I mean, I don't really know what's going to happen with Berserker. I am 4 issues in, didn't care much for issue #4. It's going to be on a hiatus, and then issue #5 is coming out like in September or October. But we'll see how that goes. I'm reading Save Yourself now, which is really, really fun. I'm definitely interested in seeing what's going to happen with Basilisk. That's been one of my biggest surprises. And also one of my biggest surprises from Boom was Proctor Valley Road. I thought Grant Morrison did a great job with that. I loved how it ended. But it's really where AWA and Aftershock, that's really the good stuff. Image, it's all about Spawn for me. I'm excited to pick up King's Spawn. I'm excited to pick up Gunslinger Spawn and The Scorched. I'll pick up Snipe and Slug, see how that goes. I'm excited for those. And even the big two, there seems to be some exciting stuff coming. I'm excited to see where Philip Kennedy Johnson is going with Superman right now. I read Tom Taylor's Superman Son of Kal-El, which was very interesting. I don't know how to describe it, but it's something completely ballsy, and I just want to see where it's going to go. I'm not going to read Fear State. I am not about Fear State at all when it comes to Batman. I'm really glad that I'm taking this little Batman break, but I don't know. Have you been reading Batman Reptilian?
I haven't bought it. There's too many Batman titles, so I just stick to the main one.
Yeah, the only reason why I picked up Batman Reptilian is because Garth Ennis is writing it, and I just wanted to see how he would do with a Batman title. And Marvel is surprising me. I started to pick up Sinister War. I enjoyed it. So I'm going to see Nick Spencer's run to the end. And X-Men still hooked me. I'm still with X-Men right now. I'm going to read The Trial of Magneto. I'm going to read Inferno. I think that Inferno is going to be the thing that is going to make all these people who were doubting this whole Dawn of X, Reign of X, House of X, Powers of 10. I think this is where Hickman is finally going to take everything that's been building up and he's finally going to bring it all together in Inferno. I hope I'm right about that. And I think when it comes to the thing that I'm the most excited about from the big two, it's Donny Cates' new Hulk run. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that as well.
I'm just very curious to see also, I'm not going to pick it up, but I am going to try and find out what people are going to think about Al Ewing writing Venom. I'm really curious.
Yeah, I know you said he's going cosmic, so I don't know if I'm going to go for it, but we'll see. I do like Venom in general.
Yeah, that is true. So, yeah, I think that pretty much is going to wrap it all up, everybody. I'm really curious to know how you all felt about the first of the half of the year in comics. I'm really curious to know what some of the titles are that you're all excited about. And Daniel and I are looking forward to having another conversation very, very soon. I think when we get together next time, we're definitely going to be touching on Free Comic Book Day. Don't forget, everybody, mark it on your calendars. No matter where you are in the U.S., it is happening. It is Saturday, August 14th. Get to your store, support your local stores, and get all the free comic books that you are able to get your hands on based on your own store's policy. There's some really great free comic books coming out this year for Free Comic Book Day, everybody, and I really hope that you all have a great time on that day. I'm excited because it's going to be the first time that I'm participating.
I've participated in the past, so definitely go out there, support your store.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.